Good morning, everybody. So I actually grew up going to this parish here in Canada. I graduated at Holy Trinity High School in 2010, and a young person from the parish reminded me that that was actually 14 years ago. And I felt really old. Probably for the first time in my life, I felt old. But if you had told me 14 years ago that I would be standing up here sharing about my vocation to the priesthood, I would have laughed at you, actually. In fact, the priesthood was not something that was attractive to me. In fact, coming to church at all was not something that I was drawn to. When I left high school, I moved out. I went to university at the University of Ottawa. I studied nursing, and I really stepped away from God. I was living like God did not exist. And I reached a very low point in my life. And it wasn't until I realized that I was very unhappy that I decided to turn back to God. I went to the sacrament of confession for the first time in a very long time, and I gave my life over to Jesus for the very first time. And everything changed. I experienced this joy, this fulfillment, this peace in my life that I'd never experienced before. And when I finished university, I came back to this very parish while I was working as a nurse at the Ottawa Civic Hospital. And I would remember there was these ladies that would come up to me after Mass and tell me that I should become a priest. And I was pretty much convinced that they told every young man that they saw at church that, so I wanted a little more clarity. And what I learned, so I'd started discerning a vocation to the priesthood. And I learned that a vocation to religious life, to the priesthood, is not something that I can think of myself, but it's something that God places on the heart. It's a desire that God places on the heart. So I thought, the pressure's off, it's up to God. So I remember, it was many, many years ago, I was sitting in that pew right over there, and I prayed something that I would call a very dangerous prayer. It went something like this: God, I will do whatever you want me to do, even if it means becoming a priest. Just place that desire on my heart. And I had forgotten about this prayer, and at this point, I was really getting more into my faith, and I found myself hanging out with priests and seminarians. I had a spiritual director that was a priest, and I thought to myself, man, these guys get to share their faith with people every day. They get to share Jesus with people. I would love to be like one of them someday. And I don't know if you've ever had that moment where you say something and then you realize what you just said, and sometimes you just want to maybe take that back. It was kind of like that for me, except I experienced this joy when I thought about the priesthood, and I realized that God had answered my prayer. He had put the desire for the priesthood on my heart. And it's amazing, coming back to this parish, to this place, which had nurtured my vocation. So many of you here, I can see, who actually have been praying for me and supporting me over the past 8 years. It's amazing. And because of that, in 3 weeks, on our parish feast day in Detroit, where I study, I will be ordained to the diaconate, and God willing, in May, I will be ordained to the priesthood here in Ottawa. It's so amazing, all the where God has brought me. And I believe that I am not the only one. I believe that there's young men and women here today who God has placed a particular calling to a religious life. And I just want to say to you, if that's you, don't be afraid. Because the decision to follow Jesus' call for my life is the best decision I have ever made in my life. So please pray for me. Pray for me as I approach this. I need it so much. And I will be at the back of the church after Mass, and I'd love to chat more with you. If you'd be willing also to make a donation or a contribution to my seminary formation, I'll be very pleased to receive that. But most importantly, please pray for me. Thank you so much, and God bless you.